When we think of the sentiment Black Lives Matter, it should come off as creating an awareness of an inequality taking place amongst a race of people, which is counterintuitive to the principles and the morale that this country claims to be established upon. That as the years pass since the inception during the Trayvon Martin murder case, the sentiment has become an embattlement to those who like to know what's going on. And that's the question that I have. What's going on with Black Lives Matter? What kind of group is Black Lives Matter? Now, I do understand that there's a racial injustice taking place amongst a group of people, which happens to be my people. And I know that this fight is a fight that we definitely need help in this fight and making the awareness known amongst all groups of people and all races. But one thing I can't understand is how a group led by 3 women, that I have no problem with them being women, and I have no problem with the group, but I have a problem with their agenda. You know, today I was watching this podcast that I normally watch, Tariq Nasheed, and I was just so taken aback when he revealed that there's a coloring book that's out there, a Black Lives Matter coloring book. Now, I was going to share some of that coloring book today with you guys, and I was going to pull up some images, but I was just really taking it back to where I said I don't even want to share that mess. But in this coloring book, it shows nothing close to what we know to be a nuclear family, a father, a mother, children. They like to show images of 2 women and children, 2 men and children, a grandfather, a grandmother, children, but no man, no woman, no children. What are you trying to do, Black Lives Matter? What are you trying to force upon my children, Black Lives Matter? See, this is why I've created this platform, Guerrilla Truth, so we can talk about issues that affect people on a deeper level. Now, pardon me if my dogs end up barking, because my fiance, she should be walking in soon. So I just don't want that to interrupt the point I'm trying to make. But what are you trying to do, Black Lives Matter? What is your agenda? You see, because when I looked at this coloring book, they had pages where they showed a queer guy. They literally said, the title said a queer guy, and it was a picture of a man that had lipstick and stuff on, and it said a queer guy, and it gave a little paragraph of what a queer guy is. And the crazy thing that blew my mind, right, is it didn't even explain what a queer guy was. It's just, if you see this guy and they're queer, this is how you should treat this person. But what am I to do as a man? And what is a mother to do as a mother when their child asks them, what is a queer mommy? What is a gay daddy? What is a lesbian? Huh? What is a transgender? What is that? And then it's left up to me to explain that to them. But see, I subscribe to an understanding that this is an issue that they have to deal with personally. I don't care about who you're sleeping with. I don't care about your sexual preference. Why are we putting together laws and policies for people's sexual preference? See, this is the conversation that people don't want to have, but we're going to have it here on Guerrilla Truth. You see, because the thing about Black Lives Matter, I had to ask myself a question. I said, what is your goal? What is your goal, Black Lives Matter? And this is a question I have to ask myself. And I said, you know what? Your goal is clear and it's right on your page. Your goal, and I quote, it says, we disrupt the nuclear family. We prescribe, I'm sorry. It says, we disrupt the nuclear family prescribed by Western civilization by supporting each other as an extended family or villages that collectively care for one another. I got this off of the Black Lives Matter page. It says, quote, I'm going to read it for you again. It says, this is their goal. It says, our goal is we disrupt the nuclear family. Now we understand. Remember what I told you what the nuclear family was, right? The mother, the father, children. Nuclear family, the center. Everything happens around this, right? Their goal is, I quote, we disrupt the nuclear family prescribed by Western civilization by supporting each other as an extended family or villages that collectively care for one another. So, what is this extended family? What is this extended village? You see, I have people in my family that claim lesbian. The people I know people that are gay in my family, and I love them very much. And when I see them, I treat them accordingly. Just there's no difference in how I treat them. It's my family, right? I mean, okay, who you choose to be with on sexually has nothing to do with me. So why in the media do they feel like they need to put this in the forefront? And for me, what makes me even more upset as a black man, I feel and I know for a fact that they're putting the black man and the black woman in the forefront of LGBTQ. Why are we the ones raising the flag for Juneteenth, LGBT flag? Why are we the ones doing that on Juneteenth, on a day that was elected for us to show the day that we were actually released from slavery? But we want to use that day to commemorate LGBTQ. You see the slick games that they try to play? See, this is what I try to help black people understand. I say, listen, you can understand politics. There's been over 7,000 different political black members in the political black caucus, in the politics, in the office, in the Senate, the black caucus. There's been about 7,000 black people over the years, and nothing's happening. You know why? Because they know which ones to pick. They know which ones to pick. They pick the ones that invite LGBTQ books. See, I have no. This is the thing about it. Anybody that subscribes to, I have no problem with that. But that's just the group. That has nothing to say that you deserve a certain policy and everything to form for just you and yours. No. When we say black people, I say black people across the board. I don't care if you're gay, you're queer, you're lesbian, has nothing to do. You're black. You fall up under that. But see, I see conversations where people are looking at Ice Cube and saying, well, you have a policy for black people. What about a policy for women? You see, as black people, we always like to get into this divisiveness. We like to create subgroups within our group. That's freaking insane. Why are you creating subgroups within your group? When when it comes down to policy, when they're putting the policy against your neighborhoods, and coming in and gentrifying your neighborhoods, they don't say, "Oh, we're going to do this to the light skinned blacks, or we're going to do this to the dark skinned blacks, or we're going to do this to the ones that are mixed with Spanish blacks." No, 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 no. You're a black man, black woman. We fall up under that umbrella, and that is that. But I have my qualms with the LGBTQ Black Lives Matter movement. I have my problems with that because I everything that I do, and I speak for my people, I do it for all. I don't sit up there and try to create a certain people. I love you just as I love anybody. There's no difference in anything in you as a person, whether you're gay, lesbian, transgender, whatever it is. You are a human being. We are here to survive. And if there's inequality taking place, we need to be on top of that, and we need to be dealing with that as a people and coming together. But I said a lot there. That was something that was really on my chest. Yeah, but if you can look into what I was saying, there's definitely a book out there on Black Lives Matter coloring book. Look that up, and it's very disturbing. Very disturbing. I was going to share some video, but like I said, I just couldn't. I really just couldn't get into it. It was just too much happening in that. Definitely just too much happening in that. But this evening, tonight, I'm very excited because again, as you see the title, we got Mr. Klein in the building. Yes, my brother Jeff Klein is in the building tonight again, and he's going to be delivering a message for us of understanding this great reset. But see, this time there's a twist to this one. See, because the worst races ever. And when he titled this, I said, "Wow, okay, I see Jeff got some. He's going to definitely be putting some fire to this." And I was just really, really, really excited about this. So, like I said, here at Gorilla Truth, everything that we put the facts on the table, or we put all the information on the table, and we sift through everything. We make sure that okay, we take this piece, we make that piece is like puzzles. You know what I'm saying? You ever had a puzzle 500 pieces, put it on the table, sort through it, put the pieces together, and then we deliver it to the people. But like I said, my brother Jeff, if you're there, you could definitely start coming on. I'm excited to have you here tonight. I'm gonna pull up on the screen here. Like I said, you are somebody that doesn't even need much of an introduction because, like I said from our last episode, it's been some great feedback. People have been definitely excited to hear from you again. You know what? I had some earbuds, but I had some Bluetooth ones, and the Bluetooth setup I was trying to do to hook up wasn't compatible with my computer. So I'm sorry if the audio sounds a bit choppy, but like I said, at the end of the day, people are going to get what they want to get out of this message. And I definitely know that your message is going to be something we definitely need to hear. And like I said from the title, I was excited. I said, "Oh man, Jeff, we got some fire for you tonight." So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mr. Klein with the Cline Report.
What's up? What's up, man?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
I just uh I was listening to your intro and the video about with what's his name?
Umar
Umar?
Johnson.
He said I'm the King Kong of conscious. Yo, I want that title.
King Kong of consciousness. Well, I know
Yeah.
that Umar got some tough dealing with right now. That's a guy I like to watch on. They do a lot of different parodies on
Yeah.
different people, man. But
Well, I liked his hat, man. I looked I always picked out
yeah,
I
my
knew
man
his
Leroy.
hat was hot, man. Well,
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting episode. It was just something I was watching before I got situated with this show here. But like I said, whatever. I just the way I came off in the beginning, man. I was looking at some stuff earlier. It was just crazy this agenda that and those are just for like other episodes. It's not even
yeah.
anything on the political spectrum, but it's just like how you try to see pedophilia and stuff is just trying to infiltrate and the toxic masculinity buzzwords. I'm starting to hit people with toxic femininity. You know what I'm saying? Like, get rid of toxic femininity. Start trying to make the men soft. We need our men tough again and rough again. But
Well, one of my friends, a long time ago, we had a conversation about the evil in this world, and I told him I can't even imagine. It was over 10 years ago. I think it was when I used before I moved up to Rochester, and I told him that that this world is going to get crazy when the evils of this world become the norm.
mm, yeah,
When evils 10 years ago, or even 2 years ago, 3 years ago, are normal. The stuff that I'm seeing on TV is crazy.
things that would have normally been taboo back in the
Yeah.
days is just kind of like it
Um,
sells, man.
yeah. I
Everything.
mean, I watched a movie of superheroes, and out of the blue there was just a scene that didn't even make sense. I was just like, what is that scene? What is this scene for?
You're just trying
You
to throw it
know,
in your subconscious real quick. Just
yeah,
throw that there, let that sit
it
there
didn't
and
even go
simmer.
with the movie. And
Yeah.
so, but anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
I got
You know.
a lot of stuff. I don't want to hold up your time. I just
Yeah,
want to
no, no, I'm,
appreciate
I'm I'm excited. Listen, man, I got my I got my M&Ms.
your M&Ms.
Yeah. Listen, man.
My throat was really killing me, so I got
Oh yeah,
little
you good. See what's that right there? Some sea moss juice or something?
yeah.
I know because of sea moss juice on
I've
ice.
been juicing all day, man. I
How's that?
get all right. Well, first of all, last week, um, I kind of wanted to build the case about the Nasara and the Great Reset and how the buildup to it, all the way back from basically the inception of the Constitution, it has been the way that the government has really snuck behind the doors and created laws and hid things from the people. And so I wanted to get to this point tonight where we kind of talk about the the difference in not the difference, but the how Nasara is how Trump is ushering Nasara in a way that people who know that this law is there. I don't know if I said it last year. I mean, last week that Bill Clinton actually signed the bill.
Oh, oh,
So
no, I
when
remember you.
he became president, he was forced and pressured by the military generals, supposedly. But he signed the Nasara bill in when he was president. Um, and it became law of the land. But nobody from that point on um, actually brought it to fruition. And it was supposed to go into fruition after, like I said, 9/11. And once 9/11 hit, there's a lot of stuff around 9/11 and who owned the the, um, the building, um, they put an insurance, a terrorist attack insurance policy on the Trade Center
Ahead of
building
time. Yeah,
ahead of
that
time.
was all of, they did a lot of that stuff was already before the tax even took place. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying? Like they had everybody knows that they definitely had a hand
so
in that stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
I just last week I didn't get to go through every single point, so I'm going to kind
Mhm.
of speed through these points. But what
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do is, as I go to a point, what is actually in um, the Nasara bill, what I'm going to do is kind of talk about how Trump is has made decisions or has tweeted statements or has actually did executive orders to move up into this point. And then when I'm done with that, what I really doing some research because I wanted to look at all the stuff that he did
Yeah.
during his presidency or during the last 3.5 years or however long he's been president. I wanted to look to see what he's done um, and I didn't want to look. I don't want to look at um, race. At first, I was looking, okay, I want to break this down. What did he actually do for women? What did he do for the African American population? What did he do for the Spanish population? What did he do even for the gay community? Um, I wanted to look at all that and say this is where he's moving to because the Nasara, the concept of it is ushering world peace. And it's not about who, what race you're in, what gender, all that kind of stuff is supposed to be there to usher and to allow prosperity for all people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's been Trump's biggest hurdle, is because he's made some statements like, um, what more do you have, what more do you have to lose, right? What do you have to lose?
Lose.
That statement that he made when he was
Yep.
running,
Right.
to the African American people.
Mhm.
But he doesn't come out and say specifically. He says what he's done for for different groups of people, but
Mhm.
he doesn't go out and say, I'm going to make a bill, um, and I'm going to focus on this bill just for a certain group. And I think
Mhm.
that's what people want him to do. I mean, even, a lot of the ADOS group, that won reparations for the African American. They, if he came out it would be, he, if whatever he did would be like he was pandering,
Yeah.
to a certain group, and he never did that.
But
And
I know
so,
they never do that. And it's one thing. Not to just cut you off, but real quick, that's one thing that I noticed
no,
about
go
the
ahead.
Republican Party is that they don't get into the pandering. I said I've never. One thing that you have to understand is that the ideologies of a conservative, liberal, libertarian, however you want to look at far right, right, whatever going on and what's really taking place out here, and you be the one to judge, be able to
Yeah.
take that on. But I'm sorry, I'm hearing something in the background. But go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
All right. So the first thing that the Nasara, is looking to do is cancel out all debt, credit card, mortgage, other bank debts due to illegal banking and government activities. It's referred to as the Jubilee, um, of debt forgiveness or complete forgiveness, which Jubilee is a
Mm-hmm.
concept, from the Bible, basically from the ancient Hebrew, that every 7 years, or I'm sorry, every certain years, Jubilee, um, I believe it's seven, that they forgive all debts. So, how a lot of people will talk about, how they're slaves in the Bible, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
what they don't talk about is they might have had slaves, but those slaves were set free every 7 years.
Mm.
So all debts were
Yeah.
paid,
Mm-hmm.
in 7 years, and that goes on for anything that anybody borrowed money for. So if they didn't pay it off in 7 years, you didn't get your money.
Right.
Um, so then the next thing is they want to, it'll abolish income tax, and the concept of income tax, basically is legal. That's what we talked about last week. But
Yeah.
Trump's first push was to stop the federal employee tax. Remember, they couldn't do a COVID, uh, relief bill because, the Democrats and Republicans weren't working
Mm-hmm.
together. And he said, "Well, if you're not going to do it, I'll do executive order."
Yeah.
And he stopped the, federal employee income tax. Remember how everybody got crazy over it, and it
Yeah.
really,
They got mad. Yeah. It was like, oh, Trump's
and
doing it again. Oh.
yeah, and the reason
Mhm.
why is because it's illegal to do that,
Mhm.
and they know it. And even though it's just a little bit of money, it's the first step of allowing people to see that these things are not needed, and they're just taking money from us, that illegally. They're stealing from us.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Trump has done with the establishment that they're really upset is that he hasn't came in as your traditional politician. He's really came in and shooken up their croniness. I mean, not to give it that he probably got his hand in some things that but that's what every politician does. When you get into office, you want to make sure that
Yeah,
you get things set up for you when you get out. So I'm sure that he put there's some policies and things that when I get out of office, I want to make sure that it's good for me and my companies. But he's done some things that traditionally that no president has ever done. He's coming in there and shaking up and doing things and saying things that they're like, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. We gotta hurry up and make this guy look like the bad guy because he's showing our hand. But
exactly.
continue as you were saying.
No, that's a good point. Um, they're gonna abolish the IRS, which we talked about. They're
Hmm.
not supposed to be operating here. All of those employees will be transferred into the U.S. Treasury. Okay, and that's what
Hmm.
you were kind of talking about. That Robert Kiyosaki was saying that might
Exactly.
um,
Yep.
the New York the U.S. Treasury basically will take the place of the IRS and the Fed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's what I heard. Yeah.
And if you ever heard Trump talking about the flat tax, that's the concept that even though they're going to eliminate all this debt, there still will be taxes, but it'll be only on certain things. And it will only be on certain things that are legal in the Constitution. Okay.
Hmm.
And so a flat tax, basically everybody will pay a flat tax. And so also, it creates a 17%, what I was talking about, 17% flat rate for non-essential items. Um, and those sales tax for those items will create the revenue for the government to operate. So it's off of sales. It's not off of the backs of the people.
People. Right. Right.
And so we
Right.
can pick and choose whether we want to spend our money on a TV,
Yeah.
uh, it's funny. They give out stimulus checks. What does everybody go do?
Go
There
back and
would
just
Did they
stimulate the
go out
economy.
and
Right.
purchase stuff?
Right. That's all it is. That's what they're telling you. Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna take it and go buy stocks.
I mean, there was no TVs during COVID
Yeah.
because everybody got their check and bought it. Um,
Right.
and they'll also, there will be no taxes on food, medicine, um, and also on old homes. So there would only be taxes on new builds. But all anything that was pre-existing that was there would not have taxes. Um, Donald Trump has already talked about. He tweeted, which caused a lot of problems. We are looking at also considering a capital gains tax cut, which would create a lot more jobs. And Trump said Monday during the White House news conference, and that was in 2017. People went crazy when he said they were going to get rid of a capital gains tax because the first thing they said was, "Oh, that's for the rich. That's for the rich." He's trying
Right.
to,
Yeah. Yep.
but the capital gains tax would affect across the board, would affect everybody, and it would
Yeah.
lessen the prices of things,
Right.
and it would allow more money in everybody's hands, whether you're rich
Exactly.
or poor. They're going to increase benefits to senior citizens. He's done probably he has done the most for Medicaid. They constantly say that he's cutting stuff, but he's trimmed the fat from the Medicaid program, and he is put in and allocated money to the actual people and who needs it. And so he's improved the Medicaid and Medicare and even the veterans. I mean, he allowed the veterans, if they can't get help at a veterans hospital, they can go to a regular hospital. I mean, he fired like something like, I don't know how many thousands of people from the Veterans Hospital. Doctors were being basically brought to jail because they were abusing veterans. I mean, he cleared house, and now the veterans hospitals are the veterans are being taken care of like they should. And he always says that I'm taking care of the veterans, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one
And
of
that's
his
one of the
things.
things that we know that he could lean on. The veterans in the military
Yeah.
definitely stayed close. But one of the things, just to touch on the healthcare, I just had a lady the other day I was talking. She was saying, 'cause I was trying to ask, like, why is everybody, well, why would Trump even want to repeal Obamacare? And she was just explaining the high premiums that she's paying. She said she was explaining, and this is just mainly for the audience. You don't know is just that when you make a certain amount of money, that Obamacare it touches your pockets. She said her family care plan, she was paying I think like 680 a month. She was paying
I'm
alone for and
I'm paying every 2 weeks. I'm paying $630. for a family plan right now.
And that's what I said. Like see, the Obamacare was only good for those that made like you made a less amount.
Sure.
And then you think about you got to look at the numbers. I mean, how many people are married? I mean, it's not too many people are married that can actually show a combined income. So a lot of times you're showing incomes of people that are making what will fall up under Obamacare. That'll be great for them. But
Yeah.
what about the married couples, the middle class? So, but go ahead.
I mean, it monopolized the medical business, basically,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
pharmaceutical and the medical business, and it eliminated that nice, family practice that was right down the road that you could
Hmm.
go to, that was invested in your life,
Yeah.
that wants you to be healthy, um, and now basically the doctors work for the insurance companies now, so they've changed. The insurance companies tell the doctors what to do, how many patients to even see. They have a clear plan. I talked to a doctor. He says if I don't see a patient every 15 or every 10 minutes, then I don't get paid.
What?
And so if you notice, when you go to the doctors, you wait in the waiting room, right?
Hmm.
Then you come in, you get checked out. You might get your weight, a little blood pressure right into the doctor's area.
Yeah.
And then you go in and you sit down, you wait a little bit, a nurse comes in, right?
Yeah.
And then the nurse talks to you for a little bit, and then she says the doctor will be right there. That those steps were set up so that that doctor is timed and he can see all the patients, and can only stay in each room for no more than 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's how it is with my daughter checkups. Every time we take her to the pediatrician, it's like we see
Yeah,
her every 6 months. We go in there, we're sitting there waiting like 10, 15 minutes, and she comes in there less than like 10 minutes, does her little checks. And a lot of times, before a doctor would do all of the weighing, the checking, and all that. I mean, it's like they have their assistant come in, they do all the little preliminary checkings, and the doctor
yeah,
comes in with the computer. She comes back with a reading like, yeah, her measurement, her head, she's a good weight, she's a good size, she's doing great. They come in and do the little knee bump, check both knees, check eyes, ears. She's doing great. Give you a little paper. And, okay, see you later. And I'm
yeah.
like, oh, see you in 6 months ago. Oh,
And hope that she got like 3 vaccines so they can get $500-600 a pop for them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like you're
Yeah.
not checking her blood. Or, I mean, you don't know if she got cancer. Like, I mean, the probably thinking like, yo, if you go get my kid's gonna go for a checkup. Can we really be checking? You gonna check my baby? Want to know what's going on? What the hell? I gotta wait till she passed out. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
um, the one thing that this is my personal, I'll just say my belief. A lot of people believe this. I've heard this several times, and
Mhm.
um, one of the things that the Democrats did not count on was Trump winning, and so Barack Obama left a lot of vacancies in the judge seats, basically in the judicial system. Um, since Trump has been in office, he has placed over three. I think he's done, but he's done around 300 constitutional enforcement judges.
Oh
He
yeah.
is he has placed people in positions in high and low courts
Hmm.
that will interpret the law from the Constitution. And why that is so important is because what is against the Constitution? The taxing system, the debt system. Everything that the government is doing right now is against the law. So he has placed over 300 judges in these positions, including the Supreme Court judges that he did, and brought back the sense of law instead of interpreting in almost in a societal way.
Mhm.
And so that has made the Democrats even worse. So even if Trump, just say Trump doesn't get, doesn't stay in power, Biden wins, these judges will hold the Constitution for at least a couple generations.
Wow.
And that's what they were really mad at. And they couldn't believe how fast he worked. I mean, he was working so fast they didn't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, because that's what they're talking about, the Democrats packing the court. Is that can you explain what
Sure.
do they mean by packing the court?
So packing the court would be that they would create more positions. So right now there are 9 Supreme Court justices,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because it has to be an odd number. Because what if one person has to, well, if 9 people, if 4 of them are voting, 4 vote for it, 4 vote against it, then that 5th one would be the deciding
In fact,
the
okay.
factor. And so packing the court means that they would add another judge to it. So now it's 50-50, and
Oh,
nothing would get passed.
I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying.
So
Oh,
that
wow.
so it's actually against the Constitution to pack the courts.
Because they never, because that was one of the things that I think was it not Joe Biden, not Pence was person with Kamala Harris about packing the court. She
Yeah,
did not want to answer. She
yeah.
never even answered. Are you guys going to pack? Answer. Why? And she just kept, saying other. I'm like,
Just another thing about Kamala Harris, I never thought about this, but with what's going on with the election, she hasn't stepped down from her position.
yeah, I heard that. I definitely. I mean, some people are
So
saying that she's doing it for a play, possibly because they don't want the Republicans because they're trying to see what's going to happen with the Republicans, and she doesn't want to give it up to make sure that she can still make a play with that. But some people are also saying she's just nervous because she knows it hasn't been official
it's not official. Yeah.
as far as the election. So I mean, I don't know what's going on. I also heard that she was getting paid for like a year and a half from a certain office that she was in before, but she was doing something totally different and receiving money from another office for some reason. But I don't know. That's another discussion that came
Gotcha.
up a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
But so she's just known for doing certain things and being. But like I said, we already know that these people are all just groomed,
Yeah.
planted like seeds and groomed up and then put into these positions. So go ahead.
And so the next one is reinstate the original title of nobility amendment, which is the title of nobility amendment was what the original 4 fathers of the Constitution they put into place, because what would happen is any property that a king owned, he owned for life.
Mm.
And so what would happen is, um, say the king says, "Oh, you could have this land, you could work it, you could live off of it, um, but anytime he can take that land back because the original title is going back to the nobility, the noble of that
Oh,
land."
yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
so why this is important is because if you look at the house that you bought, right?
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever remember how they do a deed, a title investigation, and they look at
Yeah.
the deed.
Yep.
They go back to the original owner.
Yep.
And on that original owner's mortgage statement, like the title of that, it goes back to a patent, a land patent title, which is for life. It is forever. That person could basically is going to be it could be treated like nobility and take the land back at any time.
At any time. Yeah.
So
I
that
learned that in real estate in
yeah,
real estate. They talk about that.
but they
So,
don't
but
tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
you're saying, are you saying this is true for America as a whole?
As a whole, they would go back to the true sense. So if you owned your house, you owned it for life. You're not just owning it and it's not deeded to you by
Yeah,
the
see,
original owners.
yeah, right. Because I tell people, I said, you know, the ownership is like you still, it's like you own it, but at any time, it's like you're still paying for it. You still have to
For it, yeah.
pay taxes on it. And it's like, it still becomes like, it still be like a burst. Like, do I really own it? Because the bank can still come back and get it if you don't default. Like, when can it just be total ownership no matter what happens?
Ex-
So like, why can't we just have like just total? You bought it, you paid off, it's yours. This is your land forever. Like,
and nobody can go on it. You could do whatever you want with the
yeah, I
land,
could pass it my kids. Like,
you know, and so the big thing is like, you know, we talk about um Trump being, you know, my concept is Trump being the worst racist, right?
mhm.
One of the big things is the wealth gap in America between different groups of people. And we look at those wealth gaps and say, well, these people own houses, these people do this. It's all a lie. Just because I own a house, I'm actually in worse debt, and I'm acting as if something is mine that isn't.
You see, yeah, see, that's the
So we could look at the you know, and then then they say, well, you could give that to your kids. Yeah, I could give it to my kids, right? I can give my property to my kids, but it's not owned by them. At
right.
any point, that the original owner of this land could come back and say, I want my land back.
Okay.
And so that's what will reverse and go back to that. So whoever owns land owns it for life. And that would help every single group of people in this world, in this
Oh,
country.
what? Oh man.
Because
Uh,
now you can have your property given to your family, to your family, to your family, to your great grandkids.
yeah,
That
forever. Like,
property forever is yours,
mhm,
unless you want to sell it.
mhm.
Okay. So we talk about that, you know, this is for all people. It's not just for the white people who own property. I mean, I looked at some numbers. Property is going, ownership is going down because of, you know, COVID and stuff. But
Yes.
during the first 2.5 years of Trump, ownership skyrocketed.
Mm.
And it was due to the economy. It was due
Due
to
to the-
less regulations and people getting money. But if you look at the different groups of people that were actually buying, it wasn't white people, it was the minorities.
Yeah.
They had more opportunity because there was more
Yeah.
money in their pocket,
Yep.
because now they were making more money.
More money. Yep. Yeah, they actually said that this economy is one of the best economies as far as fiscally and financially under our administration that I think probably ever has been in a long time. But they
Yeah,
just don't share that because see, this is what I tell people. I said they like to give, oh, well, that was because Obama was in office and then he made it better for the next president. So okay, so we're gonna say under Biden, if this continues to be because I know under Trump I was paying gas prices been so cheap. And
yeah.
I've said money has been so fluent. Jobs. I have a friend that changes jobs like people change shirts, and but he has no problem with it. But it's just, I mean, he has so many jobs, and he in all sectors, from healthcare, from construction, for you know, medical driving, anything. He was doing it all, and I was just like, I mean, there was apps he had that they would just send for jobs you could do the same day and get paid, and I said,
Yeah.
okay. But see, this kind of stuff wasn't being reported to the people, so
And just the 17th, I think it was the 17th or 18th, this week was the highest Dow in the history of the Dow
wow.
and the
See?
stock exchange, and nobody reported on it. So how in the middle of an election that hasn't been called, all the craziness
hmm
back in the day, if a Muslim dude farted in the Middle East, the gas went up. You know what I'm saying?
I know, right? Right.
The Dow dropped because there was, you know, terrorist attack or something going on, and whatever it is. And so the economy is pretty stable compared to what it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Um, so the also he wants to establish new presidential and congressional elections within 120 days of Jassara announcement. The interim government will cancel all national emergencies and return back to constitutional law. And the reason why they have to reset and do a new elections is
Mhm.
because anybody who has broken the laws in, and that's why they're using these words, very, very um, specific words in this election process. If you the none of the media outlets are using the word fraud. If you notice, there is no election fraud. There's
Mm.
miscounts,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's recounts,
Mhm.
there's missing ballots and all
Missing
that
value.
other
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah. It's all different type
but
of.
they will not ever admit fraud. And if you listen to Trump's team, the only word they use is fraud, 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 fraud. The reason is because there is a law, and I forgot it's the 14th Amendment. It's in the 14th Amendment, and it talks about anybody that any governmental official that um, acts in fraud is held as a treason, is a treasonous offense. So not only is this investigation going to try to win the votes, that's why I think with what's going on, he could win if it goes to the to the courts. But he's building a case to link all that fraud back to individuals from all the way down to the highest. And so when this all comes out, hopefully it does. I don't know
Yeah.
if it is,
Yeah.
but if it does all come out, there's going to be places where there's nobody in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very scary.
And that's the one thing that I look at it and I say, man, maybe Joe Biden, it would be a part of his play as well. Just say, you know what, we already have the Republic won the Senate. If everything goes wrong, I've already put different judges and stuff in place, so you can ride this out and possibly in another 4 years come back in. All it is be Joe Biden, because I mean Joe Biden will be able to put some laws in, but I like a lot of the radical stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of that stuff probably won't be able to get passed and stuff like that. But like a lot of different
Sure.
things he wants. It's just one thing about Biden is just that people just ignore that China play and the fact that he has those alliances with foreign policies or with foreign leaders. And it's a funny thing, man. I said America, I just don't know where do you want to go. You have a president that comes in like Trump and that puts America first. Once the people say, "Oh, well, you had jobs over in across the seas too, Trump," but I mean, if you have to bring them back, bring them back. But I said it was a notion that he made, like, "Yo, we really need to have jobs here in America. Let's produce everything here in America. Why are we always sending over for other countries?" But
Yeah.
nevertheless, you go ahead.
Well, I mean, he already said he's going to destroy the um all of this stuff that Trump did for the China, all of the tariffs. He's going to eliminate all that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I've seen
so
that.
just last week, China made a trade agreement with the whole South Pacific, everybody. So now they have control of the whole South Pacific and India and all these other places.
Yeah,
And if Biden gets in, they're going to have control over America
America.
and
Yeah.
and the whole Western civilization.
Hmm.
And that's a scary thought.
Big time. Big time.
These are the people that basically they're the biggest racists in the world.
Oh yeah. I know that.
They don't care about they are, and I just got a report. um they if they find out you have a church in your home, they just raid your house, arrest you, and you might not be seen for the rest of your family might not see you for the rest of their life,
Alright.
just for having church in your own home, because it's not assigned by the state. They're they are
Mm-mm.
killing and imprisoning Muslims like you wouldn't believe. They're taking all the Muslim kids and sending them to school and rehabilitating them, and making them watch all these different movies to brainwash them to believe that their religion is evil. Thousands of kids, not just a little bit, but thousands of kids are
Thousands.
watching. Yeah, they're like concentration camps for kids. And the parents stay there and they rehabilitate them so that they could basically get back into the Chinese society.
That is
um they want to monitor elections and prevent illegal election activities for special interest groups. So we talked about all the money that goes into elections, that would all disappear. No super PACs, all that stuff. Create new U.S. Treasury rainbow currency backed by gold, silver, and platinum, precious metals, ending the bankruptcy of the United States, in, initiated by Franklin Roosevelt in 1933. So in 1933, Franklin went from the gold standard to the debt. Basically, print
yeah.
money, it doesn't matter.
Yep, yep. Fast and
They will go
forward.
back to what they call the rainbow currency, and it would all be backed by gold and precious metals, which would eliminate the Fed basically, because
Yeah.
they wouldn't need it. Um, and actually, I just found out in all this research, I have so many articles, I can't remember where it is, but I just found out that the Fed, basically, we have the Fed now. So the United States actually operates the Fed underneath Trump's administration.
Oh, wow.
And so I never knew that. I thought the Fed was separate, but we took it over.
Wow. I never knew that either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
That's
it,
probably why they mad too. They like, nah,
yeah.
we need to run rapid like it was before. Print money, print.
And there's a big article that they just went out printed out at the end of the week. The His name is Muchin or Muchin. He's the head of the
Oh, Steve Mnuchin, yeah.
yeah. So he just gave back all the money the Fed printed out for the COVID relief that they didn't spend.
Yeah. It was like 500 million, was it?
500 million.
Yep.
And they were bugging. And that's why would they be arguing about that? Why would
Yeah. Like, what's the problem with that? I'm like, they're gonna give it back and redistribute it, or what?
no because the Democrats were holding on to that money to bail out all of their cities that were mismanaged. That's where that money was going.
That's the problem with Nancy Pelosi. That's why
Yeah,
she won't. That's why she
that's
don't
why she
want
won't sign
to.
a
Yeah,
COVID.
I keep telling the
They
people. I said the checks are coming, man. The checks are coming, but they don't want to hear how the Democrats are the ones over there playing around. Like
yeah,
they
they
want to
don't
get
want to
all these
hear.
little ponies built out in this one big bill.
They want New York, Philly, uh, all of those, Detroit, Chicago, all of these huge cities that have been run by Democrats for years,
Yep.
who are crumbling because they put all these crazy, laws into place for COVID, and even before that, they weren't doing well.
Yeah,
So underneath
crushing
it,
business. All the small owned, private owned,
um,
top shop.
So they want to eliminate, like I said, the Federal Reserve System. During the transition period, the Federal Reserve will be allowed to operate side by side of the U.S. Treasury for 1 year in order to remove all Federal Reserve notes from the money supply. So they'll move all the notes that the Federal Reserve gave out for interests and loans and all that.
Yeah.
In 1 year, all that will be brought in, and then they'll get rid of them.
Wow.
They want to restore financial privacy. They want to restrains all judges and attorneys. I'm sorry, retrain all judges and attorneys in constitutional law. And I didn't get a chance there's so much in
Oh
this.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. But there's a book called Black's Law Dictionary, and that's where the law who the lawmakers, who, remember I told you, actually get trained by the same people from the IRS, right? So it's
Mhm.
all underneath the lawyers get trained by the people who write the laws for the
Oh,
IRS.
yeah.
It's all a scam.
Yeah.
But they take the terminology from this book called Black's Law Dictionary, and in there it talks about um, how they created America to be an actual corporation, and it talks about what a human is, what a natural human is, and what a um, basically what a government ID number is. And
Mm.
so when you were born and your mother and father signed your birth certificate, that birth certificate is basically um, goes onto the stock exchange.
Yeah,
and,
barcode.
and
Pretty much.
yeah, so your actual social security number and your birth certificate is worth millions of dollars, and
Mm.
that is how they use the debt. So you think you're getting paid at work, and that
Yeah,
money comes to you. That's all fake money. It's not even real.
it is. Right.
But the government makes money on your labor. So you're working for free, basically,
Yeah.
if you think about it.
Yeah.
And
They're paying taxes.
they're giving you nothing that is worth
Nothing.
nothing.
Right.
And
They
it's
take
all a scheme.
this.
And so if you ever heard of those the natural what do they call straw man? I don't know if you ever heard of a straw man concept.
Yeah, the strawman theories. Yeah.
But that's where it comes from. And so they're actually going to go back um, and restore and retrain and use the right terminology so the corruption can't go. Just like a court judge, when when he asks you, do you understand your judgment?
Yeah.
He's actually asking, when you say yes, when you admit that you understand what he's saying,
Hmm.
you're giving him authority over the judgment that he's about to judge you.
Yep. We was just having this conversation the other day. It's funny how law is because it's how it's interpreted.
Yeah.
It really is like that's all they're doing in those court cases when you're in the courtrooms is one person is saying it like this, but if you admit to something or if you respond to it in a certain way, the type of answer you give you could be whether it could be the linchpin into the case. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's really like it has nothing to do really with fact and truth. Is like you can get caught up in some stuff like the glove don't fit. Well, OJ, you like the glove don't fit, but you be like, OJ, know you did something, bro, but the glove don't fit. You be like, gotta quit. He must have quit. Like, old boy told you the glove to see. I said, but see, it'd be situations like technicalities.
Yeah.
You gotta throw the whole case out. So that's funny.
They
Yeah, but to get rid of all of that kind of
they would
jargon.
rewrite and retrain them so that they're actually
Yeah,
going by the Constitution,
yeah.
not this book. And basically, this book, I didn't get to dig deep into it, but it was created back in the day, and it's been around. And any lawyer has to study this book of terminology, and it breaks down every term in the judiciary system, and it's all terms that enforce the basically the corruptness of the government.
Right. I was gonna say, yeah, to show you how to tie people up with them words.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
even the point, why do you, when you go into a courtroom, they make everybody stand up, right? Please rise. The honorable such and such is coming in.
rising. Yeah.
If you don't stand up, guess what happens? They
What
hold you in contempt.
consent? Yep.
And they continue to do that until you either stand up or they'll just keep on holding you into contempt, and they'll charge you with some other crime of contempt, and you'll be in jail just as even longer than the crime that you're in. But if you don't stand up and acknowledge that judge, he can't judge over you. He
Yeah.
can't sentence you if you don't stand up. It's all a charade, man.
Yeah.
It's all a charade.
And then they make you stand up. Like, I don't want to be sentenced.
Yeah,
And then they just drag you out of court.
they drag you out. Yeah.
And then create another law why they arrested you. It's crazy.
They're gonna seize all aggressive U.S. government military actions worldwide, which they've basically already done. In 3 years, Trump has backed out of every war in the last 15, 20 years that has been going on.
Yup, they mad
And
because
they're
he's sending the
mad at
troops
it.
home. Yeah, he's working hard to get the last bit of troops home right now. They're like, oh,
And I heard that he's going to get them all home but I think by December. The last
I heard he was working diligently
there's like
trying.
2,300 in Iraq or Afghanistan, and some in Syria, and I want to say there's just like 5,000 out there that they're going to bring home altogether.
That's what we
Um, and then from that, they're going to establish peace throughout the world. I mean, the whole point of this Nasara is to have a peaceful entire world, not just America, but the world in general. And if you know, I have never, since I've been a teenager, I have never ever seen the Middle East so quiet. There's nothing.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, there's still some rumbles. There's some stuff going on in
no,
some
I tell people all
countries.
the time. I said, well, what happened to terrorism? Like, is it
Yeah,
like, it just stopped, right? Now it's
because they
COVID.
had to keep it so that they could take our rights from us. That's what that was all
Yeah,
about. It was
yeah,
all about.
yeah. We definitely see that now. Because everything is just dead, died
Yeah,
down. I see like Joe Biden, if he ends up, being the president, because they're gonna be looking for some kind of war to pick a war somewhere.
yeah.
Somewhere they're gonna try to create some fake war to mask something that they're doing and the underhanded stuff behind it, just to usher in more of China and foreign leaders.
But I think the American people have really, they see, they're going to see through their play
Yeah.
as much as people don't want to admit it. As soon as they see it happening, they're like, oh no, that ain't right. How come as soon as Trump leaves, Trump was supposed to end, he was supposed to be the worst thing for the world. He was
Mm,
supposed, we were supposed to get blown up by North Korea.
yeah,
Russia
all of
was
that
going
stuff.
to take us out. China was going to take us out. They wanted him to go into Syria. They had false flags of chemical warfare that they got caught doing. All that stuff.
Yeah, all of that. All of that. And that's what
So
I said, like, even with just being able to see what's going on and being able to just actually hope and just pray and know that, like, yo, this can't be like with a Biden administration. I just look at the corruptness. I was listening to somebody earlier today, and they asked them. They said, what do you think is the one of the most corrupt uh families or group of people in politics that you know?" And first came to my head was like the Clintons. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, but he said the Bidens, and the reason why he said the Bidens, he said because how many of them are in bed with foreigners, with the foreign governments. He said that alone is just scary in itself. I mean, it goes back to his son, Hunter Biden. And it's like we all know he doesn't have a skill. And doing what? Selling what? What is he selling? He has no skill, but he's just sitting on the board over there on foreign countries, working
Yeah.
for foreign companies. And it's a scary thing to for people don't even. But he's the less of the two evils. But like you said, we're going to see because if this ends up being solidified and he ends up being the president, we're going to see what's really been changing. Because if
Yeah.
things don't get better and you start to get worse, then we're going to just see that's just another democratic state that we're in.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but the things that Democrats get away, and I hate to talk about Democrats like as if I'm a Republican because I'm not a Republican.
It's more than I even hate saying like conservative or liberal, but you
Yeah,
just know there's a certain type of thinking that's taking place there. That's I could
yeah,
say Democrat. Like,
exactly. Because they are some it's crazy. Like all those people that cheated their kids into college, right?
mhm, yeah.
These Democratic families that had, I mean, Hillary Clinton. What's their daughter name?
Uh, uh,
I forgot her name. I don't even want to
yeah,
say it
it
because,
was. I know. I forgot. Uh, yeah,
but
but yeah. Anyway, we
but
go ahead.
she's like a multimillionaire already. She just got out of school. Those are the things that were portrayed on Republicans that's saying that they are systematically racist.
Hmm.
They sneak their kids into school so that they can get the good jobs and don't allow the minorities into those schools.
Yeah.
Those people that stuck their kids in took the place of minorities in the school.
Right. Exactly.
Biden's family, they don't have any skills. They're not doing anything, with their skills.
No.
It's
Billions of
just,
dollars. Look
yeah,
at Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi's worth like $140 million. How? You'd be like, how? You'd be like, what do you? But see, what I know about her, some stories that I read and looked up into as well, is that she gets a lot of those stock options on her table
yeah.
before they even
She
hit
gets the
IPO.
inside trading, which is
Yeah, as soon
legal.
as they
It's
hit
legal for
the
them. It's crazy.
IPO. That's what I said. So she makes money as soon as they hit the IPO. Boom, so it's the
Yeah.
first day, money in the bank. So she's been ahead of the game, man. And then her husband has businesses. And it's funny how because somebody was breaking down, how Bill Clinton was the president, and then how Hillary became the Senate, and then he became a private citizen, so he was able to receive lobbying money, working for lobby. Like it's just because the kids, even with Hillary and Clinton and those children, even with Hunter Biden, they get
Chelsea.
jobs as
Chelsea.
lobbyist jobs. They start lobbying jobs and start working for other
Yeah.
companies, and start making millions of dollars. Like how?
All off the name. All off the
Yeah,
name.
you're just using the family name. And you look at it like, okay, I understand you want to make money, but it's what are you making money for? Because if we're trying to put out a piece of legislation or policy to make something change, but there's a corporation or a company that's out there saying, and we really don't like that. We like how things have been going. And if you change that, it's going to really mess up how we make money. So here, this is what we need you to do to get into position. I said that's just not good. Like because then you're not looking at the benefit of the people. You're looking at the benefit of the system that we're trying to break away from and not be, so caught up in and have to rely upon once it lies and falls on top of us later. So
And so that kind of leads into the next part. It's the 18th part of the bill. And this I don't completely understand. And the more I looked into it, it's not fully explained, I don't think. But it's the release of unprecedented prosperity with enormous sums of money for humanitarian purposes. And the concept is basically the jobs that it'll be a job to be a humanitarian.
Mm.
And so you'll get paid to take care of people, and those people will be taken care of way better than it would be before because people are going to make money taking care of people. And
Yeah.
so the concept would be that you could actually make a huge living and be prosperous by taking care of people. If you look at all the jobs, I mean, me and you, food service, right?
Yes.
we we serve and do a lot for people, but we're at the lower end of the totem pole.
Yep.
The doctor comes in for 5 minutes. I feel like I could do what the doctor does sometimes.
I
You
know,
know what
right?
I'm saying?
That's what he
Now,
doing.
I know I can't. I'm just
I know
saying.
it's a lot of work. Don't know.
And a lot of memory and all that kind of stuff.
I know. It's definitely the memory. So
But you look at the jobs that do that connection and the humanitarian point of our society, social work, teachers, all of these people that directly influence our society and support the network and the group of people at the bottom. Those are the least paid people.
yeah,
And so what this concept is it flips that and it allows that to be a prosperous job. Is the best that I found when I was trying to search and figure out what they meant by it. It also enables the release over 6,000 patents of the suppressed technologies that are being withheld from the public under the guise of national security, including free energy devices, anti gravity, and sonic healing machines. So
wow.
he's
See,
already started that. That's how they got, my feeling about vaccines and all this other stuff. But
yeah.
the reason why he got this vaccine taken care of is because he wrote an executive order and he allowed these patents. I mean, right now I own a Rife machine
Hmm.
that was illegal 5, 6 years ago. And even when it became legal to have publicly, they weren't allowed to tell you what it did and how it worked and how you could use it to heal yourself. I have a machine in my house right now that is a frequency machine that cures cancer, cures lupus and um I mean I had there's over I want to say like over 500 or 800 frequencies that heal all different elements. Um, what's that with the ticks? Lyme disease. Um,
I just said a lot of parasitical type of.
pa- yeah, parasites, bacterias, fungus. Um, this machine has been around. They use it in hospitals for cancer patients, but it was never allowed to go public. And because they couldn't go public, these machines were 7, $8,000 and nobody could buy it. Now you could buy a Rife machine for $200
You still won't even announce what you.
and they won't announce it, but the people won't get in trouble for it anymore. I got my foot bath, that's ionic foot baths.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that now I can say that actually improves certain things
Yep,
and it could heal these things
yep.
without the FDA showing up at my door saying
Sure, I
you
know.
can't do that. I've got a where is it? Let me see if I could bring this up. Can I share? I'm going to try to share something real
Yeah,
quick.
let me know. I'll pull it up down here.
Uh, no, that's not it. Uh, I've got too many tabs. I'm still getting used to
Oh
my
yeah,
new computer.
like 15 tabs. I'm gonna grab me something.
Oh,
Go ahead. Take your time.
yeah, and it's not letting me. I didn't lose it. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not letting me bring it up. But
Were you able to find it?
no, I can't. I can't find it.
All right, I'm back.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I thought I could, but what it was this patent, which is crazy. Uh, they have they have an anti-gravity triangle, um, kind of like basically it looks like a UFO that uses new technology that can fly in the air. And I brought up the actual patent because now he's releasing these patents to public that was never able to. And I tried. I don't know why I can't find it, but
Oh, now, yes, now that technology is. They see, I've seen videos of people out there trying to do the anti gravity thing. You know, and it just seems like it was just way too much. But there's probably, like you said, it's probably patents out there for devices. It just makes it so simple. Put a little jetpack on, put some on your feet, and just take it off. See, I don't want people to start flying through the air. People hovering around.
yeah.
People won't be buying cars. You mess the
All
car.
right. And so the last couple, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we talked about the humanitarian. We talked about the patents, and then the last one is um, eliminating all current and future nuclear powered weaponry on the planet Earth. And so that's a part of bringing peace. We just talked about, I think last week, why can we have nuclear power and atomic bombs and all that, but
Yeah.
nobody else can?
Mm-hmm.
And with world peace, we wouldn't need the threat of that, and it just causes, um, all the craziness anyway.
Yeah, and that's all America like is just want to show how badass we are. Oh, we got bombs, and other countries, why they can't have bombs? You got bombs, I got
Yeah.
bombs. It's just all the intimidation. Nobody needs.
Oh man. And so I had a list
Mm-hmm.
of how many things Trump actually did. A list of all of his executive orders, all of the laws that he put in, and it was I didn't even get through all of them, but it was such um, just it was mind-boggling all the things that he did.
Because you
Um,
never heard. That's
you
what's in
never
4
even
years.
heard of
You
them.
like you just show all the clown stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
mean, and it was by the New York Times, which they're not going to give him anything that he really didn't do. And it listed things that he said he did, and they did the research and said, he didn't do it all. Maybe some was left, some of like Flint, Michigan, with the water system.
Right.
Remember Obama went out there and drank the water?
Yeah, the fake that little.
It was still poisonous after all that. He
Even
never
when he
fixed
left,
it. Yeah,
But I thought he put in laws that was going to take all the way until what next year for it to be complete. That's
he
what they are
did.
saying.
But Trump improved it, and he actually went even more in into it, and he did an executive order for all water supplies, and so that's going on in every city, every town that is not up to par. He's spending money and going into these communities and fixing the water supply.
Yes.
And guess what communities these are in?
What's that?
Low income.
Let's see if they don't want to talk about it. See,
He's
low
not
income
he's not going to
poverty.
go, imagine if he said, I'm cleaning the water for all the black communities. You know what I'm
They'll
saying?
say, no, you know what? Who cares
And
about money? Who care about the right?
but but
They
that
won't
that
even let them say that. They're not even going to let that.
yeah. Um he I just heard another sex trafficking. He did a lot for sex trafficking, man. And I found an article from the Connecticut human social services department from Connecticut did research and found out that 43% of all sex trafficking survivors are African American.
I remember you telling me about that statistic. That was very disturbing. Oh my gosh.
And so just
3%?
imagine 43%, and you guys are only 17%
But
of
that's
the
right.
population.
On the population, right.
So when these sex trafficking stuff comes up, and the money that's getting funneled into housing them, rehabilitating, giving them what they need to survive now, because some of them are, some of them have been in that environment for a long time. So it takes rehabilitation, and they're on drugs,
Yeah.
they're abused, all of that. And nobody's saying it. When people talk about, save the children, sex trafficking, there, I've seen arguments on Facebook talking about, oh, that's not more important than, Black Lives Matter, or, police brutality. and
And
and I'm
find
not.
other things. Yeah, like that should be like the number one thing that we're talking about. Like a news journalist, every time they come on TV, they should be giving an update of what's going on the field as far as sex trafficking.
Yeah,
What's the latest in sex trafficking? Like, why
I
are we
mean,
on top of that with children?
thousands and thousands of
Yeah.
kids since he's been in office. Now, I'm not saying that the other issues aren't important. I'm not saying that.
Oh no, no,
But
no.
what I am saying is it affects multiple groups of people. And because it's not directed to one person, to one group, and he can't prove that, that he's doing something for one group instead of doing it for all. He's racist. I mean, I keep on saying he's the worst racist I've ever seen.
Right.
The worst racist.
It's not the worst.
He is so bad of a racist.
He's doing it backwards, right?
Yeah, I mean, he moved the diplomats and to Jerusalem, to the main city. So our um international, diplomatic office is now moved to Jerusalem in Israel. You
They've been
go
trying
on
to
a
do that.
you go on a Ku Klux Klan website, you're not going to see any comments about I hate minorities or Spanish or black. You're going to hear anti-Semitism. You're going to hear how the Jews are ruining the world, and Trump is pandering, and Trump is feeding them, and he is the worst president in the world because he moved the diplomatic office to Jerusalem. The Ku Klux Klan hates Trump.
I never knew that. See, they don't they would never let that get out. They make it seem like he on their side. Oh, they on
Yeah,
his side, should I say?
those neo-Nazi, why they're called neo-Nazis, not because they hate, minorities. It's because they hate Jews.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. The neo Nazis. Yep.
And so these people that he supposedly supports actually hates him. Like I said, he's the worst racist.
And how can people explain that? I said, see, and all of that in the culmination for me, I look at everything. I said, now imagine if something like this could be carried out because if it just so happened he gets back in the office, 4 years, realistically, I mean, how much can you do in 4 years? How hard will I mean the Democrats continue to push back and continue to suppress what's really happening out there?
If he actually wins, they won't have he's gonna have both the House, he's gonna have
And
everything.
yeah,
They're gonna have everything.
and that's something that's very very scary for them as well to say like, wow. So now you could just write out legislation and just get everything moving right away instead of getting all this pushback and drawback.
Yeah.
So, like I said, man, it's definitely everything that I learned here. I mean, you still got more to continue on. Go ahead, but I'm just saying
No, I I,
for the
I was
most
just
part.
gonna go through all the stuff. I'm trying to remember
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Like I said,
some of the things that
yeah,
he did. Uh and what I was asking you earlier about the music thing,
yeah,
which
about that. Yeah,
changes the whole concept of how um starving artists, right? The artists at
yeah,
the bottom can put up their own stuff, can basically make money without the big companies all involved, and all of a sudden the music industry, the podcast industry, they have blown up
everything.
because of those that executive order that he put into play, saying that they get paid per stream, and there's other avenues to get paid now, instead
Yeah.
of going to these big companies and begging for a contract. You don't need a contract anymore.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, you definitely what they call it, being an independent artist.
Yeah.
Be independent. Now you can leverage all your fame and everything.
And so what group of people have taken advantage of that?
Yep, the Jewish
You know?
and the black people are the ones that always be in the back burner, like trying to figure out, trying to get the contract. You should be the ones
Yeah.
giving out the contracts. This is the thing now. They actually put you in the driver's seat, and
Yeah.
that's what's happening now. I mean, a lot of the Jewish owned music companies, they own a lot of the distribution, the places that you can actually push it. But a lot of artists have gotten smart to say, you know what, as long as I can keep all my rights and everything, I decide I'll just break a distribution deal with you.
Yeah.
Push it for me, I give you X amount of dollars for pushing it for me. Thank you, good night. Other than that, I don't need your assistance. I got Spotify I can upload, iTunes I can upload my own stuff too. So even when it comes to that, I mean, because some artists even do exclusive deals where you'll say, you know what, I'll sign where I'll release my album on the title.
Yeah.
But it's becoming like that with the movies as well. Now the movies, certain movies are coming out saying, hey, you can only get this on Hulu TV. You can only get this on
Yeah.
Netflix. You can only get this on it. Tyler Perry definitely changed the game.
He's
He
got
went
his
and
own
built his own
studio.
damn
Yeah.
movie park. He said, I can shoot any kind of movie, whenever, and I write all the scripts. He
Hmm.
writes all the scripts. So I said, hand over fist, $5 million to make it, $100 million at the box office.
It's crazy.
I know.
So
So they give it
all of
to
these things, the entrepreneurship that he
me.
is he has instilled and set us a spark underneath, certain industries, even the tech industries. They're struggling, the big ones, YouTube. Oh, well, not really YouTube, but Twitter, Facebook. I mean, they're all in the limelight. I mean, they're doing some dirty stuff,
Yeah,
basically.
they started off dirty. That's what.
But
See, but that's what. And I was just catching up to you. See, that's the thing
yeah,
with Facebook and all these. They were just information grabbers. People were
yeah,
looking at it like, oh, my friends. Oh, thanks for making this. Yeah, but they were just selling your information, and then it became an advertisement. And then now look at them. Now people are hip to them. Now you see they're trying to censor everything. No,
yeah.
no, shh, don't tell them all that. Shh. No, you can't. Nah. We don't care. all the dirty laundry.
And now it's so easy and profitable to make up your own avenue. You
Yeah,
build your own platform,
yeah,
doing all those things.
yeah,
You can do yourself now, or grab a group of people that are all interested. I mean, they made that Parlor app. That
yeah,
thing took off. Newsmax, they created
yeah.
a brand new. When's the last time you know that they just created a brand new news
I know, right? Even
cable
Trump was
company?
retweeting them. He was retweeting them. I said,
Yeah,
but see, but if you got the money, see, they had the money, they could go to the cameras. All you gotta do, see, now you just create the stream, create the audience.
yeah,
That's all it is. I said, that's all. I said, the industry now is just so. It's really down to just the person. Everything is just down to the people. So we already got a good uh preliminary start on Nasira type of aspect when you really think about it,
yeah.
as far as the independent role and being able to create things on your own and be able to broadcast your abilities and gifts and talents. It's just that other part now, all the things that you discussed earlier in the list that you went through now, that if we could definitely bring it to fruition.
Yeah,
I mean, and I don't see the difficulty in it. It would just be those at the top, the old guards, really releasing those keys, and somebody like a Trump and whoever comes after them down the road, and the people that are just waking up to all the lies and
the lies. Yeah,
all the fraud. Those are going to be the ones to carry that torch, to continue to tear down these narratives and
I
these.
mean, if he doesn't win, then Nasara will get buried and it'll never happen. I
Mm,
really believe that if Trump doesn't, if it doesn't, if there is no fraud or he just doesn't, there's no way of proving it. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff. I don't need I even me trying to do my due diligence behind the scenes, trying to figure out what's true, what's not true. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that I mean, Georgia just found another 25,000 votes or something like that.
yeah,
Just how you just gonna find votes? Like,
yeah,
I saw a picture of somebody found a voting apparatus in on the side of the road and videotaped it and then called the cops. And it was, you couldn't have faked it. She was sitting there with her phone, videoing the cops come, everything. How you just gonna find a voting booth? You know what I'm saying?
Then I found they're finding a whole bunch of Biden computerized signed ballots, like
Yeah.
perfectly sealed and everything. I said, oh,
So I don't. I really don't believe that Biden is gonna be the president with all this going on. I mean, once once they say it's funny. Imagine like they admitted that the governor or Senate race, there was a glitch. I think it was it in Wisconsin or um
okay.
Illinois? I can't remember where it was, but or Michigan. But there was some kind of glitch and it flipped and it caused the Democrat Senate
Michigan.
race. Was it Michigan?
I think it was Michigan. Yeah,
They call it a glitch.
yeah,
How
they
it
called it a glitch. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I believe it
how
was
is
Michigan. Like, how you just say it's a glitch and just keep going like
yeah.
a
And
glitch?
but how come you don't say, well, that glitch happened for that race, but everybody voted for multiple races in those things?
Yeah,
So how do we know that the presidential thing wasn't a glitch or the that you know whatever office is on the ballot card? You're
yeah,
saying,
because it's not just the president, right? It's all the
yeah,
other
it's
offices.
all those other ones. So I don't understand how they can say
Oh,
it.
it glitched just for this one.
Yeah,
That's why I said they should have just never did the mail-in ballots and all of that. They just need to do a recount, hand recount, do all of this. But they said they did a recount in one state, and then that Biden won by a few. 100 or something. Was it Georgia? I think it
It was
was.
Georgia.
Yeah.
But the issue is they recounted all the votes, even if they didn't go through and audit the votes. They didn't go in and audit the ballots.
Oh, it
So
actually checked the ballots.
it's going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? They didn't audit to see if there was any discrepancies in how many dead people, how many, unsigned, none of that. They just took the ballots and counted the ballots. So that's why they left Georgia and went to other places to open up different like different, they had to change their tactics. The Trump lawyer team had to change their tactics to Georgia because they knew it was just going to be the same thing and there's nothing they could do about it.
Well, I know as of yesterday, I heard that Nevada's not calling the election yet.
Yeah.
They're still waiting to all these court cases clear up. So, but the news is not going to let you know that. Like I
I
said, they
I
already.
think I think Trump won Nevada. I think he's going to win Georgia, and I think he's going to win Wisconsin when it all said and done. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and they got. I think they're going to do a soft election, like a soft finalization, like December 8th. But I think like mid-December will probably be when we'll all find out when everything is definitely
Yeah,
solidified. But like I
and
said, man, it was so much tonight
yeah,
that you put on the table, Jeff. That I think the people going back through this, um, we're going to definitely be able to get a lot out of this and be able to go look into those different areas and just see what can we do as people ourselves to go out there and kind of push this initiative. We create grassroots movements, understandings of this material movement, uh, the Great Reset, and just help people to understand that there's something that's bigger than us out here, but we all have to come together as people to make this work, and we can't just be looking for overhead to be the ones to make it happen because they can put laws and legislations, but it takes us as people on the ground to actually push it.
yeah. I mean, imagine if we all said, "Yo, you're not collecting any taxes from me ever again." If the
Yeah,
if the country just said, "Nope, we're not doing it."
imagine if we all just walked out the hospitals. I said, imagine one day everybody at food service and housekeeping said, "Yo, we good for the day."
Yeah,
I said that will force legislation that same. That what's funny? A guy Tariq Nasheed I was listening to earlier, just on that note of forcing legislation. Um, they would tell you that civil rights with everything, how they did the integration with the laws and the policies, how they started making we'll give black people the same rights as white people to be able to, fair treatment in interviews, jobs, and things like that. They make it seem as if it was this long, hard fight. But one thing he pointed out was that they don't share was that when Martin Luther King got assassinated, that black people went crazy for a whole week or two. I
yeah.
think I forgot what they called it, but it was a time where they were telling white people doing it got
It
real,
was violent.
so
Yeah,
real that the current standing president, when he got in there, he signed legislation within that week
yeah,
for rights and in favor for black people and then push it. But what we were always taught, and this guy's a huge historian, so I kind of I put his points are a lot of are validated. But he was saying they would have you think that we fought, it was so hard, civil rights, we did all this marching. He was like, no, it
and it
took
was
less than a
peaceful.
week.
Yeah,
But what he was just trying to say is that these lawmakers can make things happen when they know
yeah,
what's right for them. Another scenario that I use all the time, I tell people at our job, I said, I see people get upset and frustrated about the times that I say, listen, our job is only 350 million people in the United States, right? And we're all sitting here waiting for a $1,200 stimulus check, right? There's only 350 million people roughly. I said, they just built a building right here next door to us, 300 million,
yeah,
one building. But you want to talk to me about power? I said, yeah, that's why I said certain conversations that you have with people, I said, you gotta if you don't understand what's going on, I said you'll never understand. And I said the 1% is the 1% financially, but the 1% is also 1% in their thinking. And I said, we're a part of that 1%.
sure.
Not everybody can actually see what's going on. and try to prepare a path for them and yours. But like without further ado, I'll give you some time if you want to give like the last little sign outs and things like that before we roll out here. We've been rolling for
No, I
this
just
is a good one. I want to be able
yeah.
to say something, another show and stuff like that. And like I said, it's just a lot for me to go back on my research and more too. So go ahead, I'll let you take it.
And it's all out there for people to look at. I mean, everything that I found goes back to the constitutional laws. You could read them for yourself. The information is there.
Mhm.
um I think a lot of times uh we don't go out looking for stuff because we're caught up in all the other nonsense of
Yeah,
you know who did you vote for, who did this, who that, who's going to be best for me, who's going to be best for my people, who's going to, what group is going to make the 1%. You talk about the 1%. Do people really know that the 1% of America pays 95% of the taxes? That's crazy.
right, right.
1%
1% pay
of
95.
America pays 95% of the taxes, I believe. It's in the 90s. And we're talking about we want to tax them more. And I'm
Well,
not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just
yeah,
saying,
but we
but if you really look at it,
yeah
if you was part of the 1% and you're paying 95% of and letting the nation live off of your hard earned money.
yeah. I explained that to somebody the other day. I
Yeah.
said, listen, even honestly, I'm glad I'm naturally just a modest person. But I said, and growing up, I said, but if you build something from the ground up, and you talking about what Joe Biden's looking at 28%, you talking about I'll raise the taxes 28% of. I said, and yeah, think about that. I said, man, some people know. I said, some people know that you ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when people come, like I know people won't just be lazy. And I've been around them. Like I've tried to build and put shovels in their hand. They're not about to go out and dig nothing. Like
Yeah.
want me to give them. But like I said, that's a discussion for.
So, yeah, I got you. There's so much out there, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to get on this platform, give me a voice, and I've really enjoyed just getting this information and getting it out there. I hope that I've touched a nerve in some people, even if you're not a Trump fan. It's not about right now. Yes, what I talked about, the Nasira um, process is really going to be hopefully ushered in by Trump, but um, that doesn't mean that you just take my word for it. Do the research. Go deep into policies. You read the Constitution. Read these things, these laws that he put in, and don't just go on YouTube and look at clips of what other people say
Yeah, right,
about this stuff.
right,
And
right,
that's a lot of people send me that stuff. Every time Trump does something, I get a clip for what somebody else says
right.
about
A
him.
talking point that
Um,
everybody's sharing.
you
Right.
know, um, I, you know, today actually, I'll just close with this.
Go ahead.
I I watched. I got a list of every single Republican who endorsed Biden, and there was a
Wow.
lot. Judges, secretary of, I mean, states and federal governments and agencies um, publicly came out and said, I endorse Biden. And that if you don't like Trump, you could use that as a saying, look how bad he is. Even the Republicans don't even want him. I look at it like, yo, that's the swamp. Those are the people that weren't doing anything for our people in the first
Right.
place, and they're all connected.
He's
That's the
exposing them. They're
that's the
scared.
before Trump got into the political arena, he knew he wasn't a Republican or a Democrat. He chose to be a Republican because he had conservative views. He even said in like a long time ago, if I was to run, I'd run as a Republican because I know I could win as a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I can't
Yeah,
win as a
yeah, because
Democrat.
yeah, yep. And people don't understand he was a Democrat, but he ran as a Republican.
When you're that rich, you're neither. You give money to
Yeah,
both
you just
sides, and you try to
no
get
right. It doesn't even. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. The parties don't even. There's no. That's why he said I had to run as a Republican, like
yeah.
because those views. I know that more people are thinking like that in America. Those are the ones with the companies.
And so yeah, and so it just I've seen, I've heard, I've had discussions with people who have, I hate to use the word woke and all that, but there has been a veil that has come up off of a lot of people's eyes in this
Mhm.
in the last couple years. Um, I have a family member who is on the Democratic walk away site. So she's a part of a group who are all ex Democrats who walked away from the party. And every day somebody's coming on and they have to give a video of why they've walked away from the Democratic Party. And you want to know what the biggest, your intro talking about, Black Lives Matter and the breakdown of family values and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But one of the largest groups that nobody's talking about who voted for Trump, that nobody would imagine, were the gay and lesbian community
Mhm.
because they saw the hatred that the Democrats and the side speaking, yeah, we're for you, but they're
But
really you don't know who they're for.
for it, I know the only for
Yeah,
who's ever driving their agendas and pushing
and
whatever they
so
want.
they're a large group on this walk away platform. And my sister is on it. She was saying every day there's new people coming, all races, all genders, everything. There was hundreds and thousands of them. They did a walk in DC over the summer. And it was like a million, something like I don't know
Wow.
how many, but the streets, but they didn't report on it,
But
So
of course they would,
yeah.
right? A lot of
So
people getting wise, man. A lot of people waking up.
and so the movement that Trump has caused is not a movement to follow Trump. It's a movement to go back to the Constitution, going back to the laws, going back to what the foundation of this country is really about. And
Right.
when he says make America great again, people say that that's racist. Make
I never even thought that. That's what I said. I never knew it.
yeah.
I never even thought that. That's like,
But and
yeah,
I'm not denying there's definitely some dark times in American history we just
yeah,
talked about.
definitely. Yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm not denying any of that. But make America great is going back to the Constitution. That the founding principle of the Constitution, the number one principle, is told to be basically that you can't be free without owning your own property. That's
Yeah.
that is the founding principle of our Constitution.
Can't
And
be
so
fooled.
when I hear "Make America Great Again," I hear let me actually own the piece of the pie, and let everybody own a piece of the
Piece
pie.
of the pie.
It doesn't matter what race, what gender, what religion you are. America is a place that the number one priority is to own a piece of the pie. And so that's what I prescribe to, and Trump's just been the avenue to wake up my eyes. I knew about the straw man years ago. I met somebody who basically lives outside of the government rule. He doesn't have a license plate. He doesn't. He owns. He doesn't pay any taxes on his house. He basically doesn't pay a mortgage. Nothing. Um, when he gets a ticket, the cops have no rule over him. He doesn't even have to. He does. He goes to court. They let him go. Um,
Wow.
he didn't have to pay off his school loans. None of that. Um, But you got to know what you're doing to do it.
Yeah, I
You
was gonna say
really
you
got
got
to do your research, and they will come down hard if you don't do it the right thing. But I've met groups that are all into it, and doing it, and so they're called natural citizens, and they go back to that I think 1871, before this America became an actual um, basically an organization or
corporation.
a corporation. Yeah. So thank you. We could talk all night.
Oh no, like I said, man, like I said, it's always a pleasure to have you here. Like I said, we
Sure.
definitely will be back here again. I like I said, I like your dub, just the Cline Report. Like I said, it's always well full of knowledge.
Yeah.
And to the viewers out there, the listeners out there, we thank you for being a part of this broadcast. And we will be back with you again soon.
All
Take
right.
care,
Looking
be
forward to
blessed,
it.
have a good night. Jeff,
You
I'll be
too.
in contact with you, brother. Thank you again, as
All right.
always. God bless you and yours.
Peace. You too.